was sort of one other percent, but okay. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. I am Susan, and today I am here with a guest. This is my friend Khuliso, and I've asked him to be on my channel to talk to us about being a being a former civil engineer who now works in banking. So welcome to my channel, Khuliso.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. So just to get into the introduction of things, would you like to give us a high-level overview of your educational background, career trajectory thus far?
Okay, no problem. So like Susan said, my name is Khuliso. I studied civil engineering at Wits, and then I worked in the engineering field for 2 years. And then at the beginning of 2023, changed careers, and now I'm a finance grad at a bank.
So that's exactly the conversation we want to just explore. Why make that transition? And so let's get into it. So when did you start planning your career transition from civil engineering to banking?
I would say it was something I was interested in whilst I was studying. However, like the concrete transition started about last year, I'd say around May, April, May of last year. That's when I started actively working towards doing the transition into finance and banking.
So, and how did that plan look like? What upskilling approach did you take to equip you with the skills from being a civil engineer to being a finance grad?
So the upskilling I did, firstly I did a lot of research. So the internet, like readings. And then I also started meeting other finance professionals. So they gave like a lot of guidance as to like maybe what short courses I could look into, and then how to actually prepare myself and present myself in order to appeal to the finance market.
Okay. So, are there any skills that you feel were transferable from your civil engineering career to your finance career?
Actually, there were quite a bit. So, the biggest, I think, engineering skills are actually very transferable.
Study engineering.
Biggest being analytical, going through problems, understanding the whole problem, because as much as you're doing like bridges and stuff in civil engineering, problems are still problems that need to be looked at and analyzed.
The structured thinking,
yes.
The structured approach you take to problem solving doesn't change regardless of the industry you're in.
Yes, and also some of the quantitative skills, like you do a bit of math in engineering, so that's also quite transferable.
That's good. Good to know. Anyone who's thinking of transitioning, keep in mind. But so the graduate program that you're a part of, like walk us through, how did you find it? What are the criteria, and what is like the recruitment process?
So how I found the grad program, like I mentioned earlier, I was speaking to people in the industry. So they did point me out to like which grad programs to look at. And so compared to civil engineering, at least the recruitment process is a lot more drawn out. There's a lot more stages involved in it. But like a high level overview, it was just after the applications, your CVs and CV screenings and all that. There were psychometric tests. And then after psychometrics, there were a virtual interview, then another round of psychometrics, and then the final interview was like just a panel interview and then a group interview. So that was like a quick overview of the process.
Group interview is in like, did you guys do a case?
Yes. So we'd be in a room. There'll be people watching, and then you work through a case together. So I'm assuming they're looking at how
was that in person?
Yeah.
Okay, lol.
Yeah.
I've been so used to virtual assessment centers because even the video that I think I'm uploading before this one was about my management consulting recruitment experience because didn't have that many steps because it's like application, then they asked us to submit a 1 minute video answering 2 questions, and then the last one was the assessment center, and we did the group case virtually as well as our individual panel interviews virtually as well. But it worked out for me because I wasn't in the country at the time.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, and even my civil engineering job that I got, it was a virtual interview because no one's flying. I'm not crossing an ocean for a job I'm not sure about. But yeah, so I made this mistake when I was asking him to do this video where I called him a banking graduate. So I want to ask you, what's the difference between finance and banking?
So it's how you relate to products. So your banking people who are in banking, let me say, they tend to be client focused. So they are more focused on selling products to individuals, be it like depending on who your client would be. Whereas finance is more concerned with the bank's affairs. So you're more concerned about the bank's positioning, how much money the bank's actually making. So you don't really interface with the client so much, actually at all. And then you can also just think of finance as a function that supports your banking. So finance would do a lot of work around ensuring that the bankers are actually profitable, are they making money, are they compliant with regulations, stuff like that. So I think that's how you differentiate
between the two. Okay. So also just speaking to you getting a job as a finance grad, what do you think made you an outstanding candidate?
So I think one of the biggest things that stood out is that an ability to learn. So that makes you stand out. Being able to articulate finance things, knowing that I didn't study this stuff, really did make me stand out. Also, just bringing a different way of thinking. So I was unique because most finance graduates are accountants or they actually study finance, so they sort of think in the same way. So bringing a different perspective to it is something that made me stand out.
So guys, take notes. And just also talking on that, has there ever been a time that you experienced like imposter syndrome? Have you ever felt imposter syndrome because you are a civil engineer in finance?
Yeah, no, that is something that you really need to deal with, especially when people start throwing around acronyms, throwing around terms. It is a bit like, okay, why am I here? And the assessment center being in person, you actually met other people and everyone's like, yeah, I studied finance. So you're like, why am I in this room? They clearly know more about this finance position than I do. So, imposter syndrome is a daily thing, especially when you don't get things at work. Yeah, the imposter syndrome sets in.
Do you have a little notebook for all the acronyms?
Yeah, no, I bought myself like a 4-choir. So a lot of the times, like you have to slow people down in meetings. Like, wait, what does that mean? And then there's always that eye twitch before they realize, oh shit, this guy didn't study finance. You just need to take it back a step. So yeah, there is the notebook, and like I said earlier, I think one of the stuff that they looked at when they were recruiting is that willingness to learn and willingness to be like, okay, I don't know, being able to say in a meeting, I don't know what you're talking about, please explain. So yeah.
All right. I think one thing to also ask you about is, how does your current workday look like compared to your civil engineering workday?
So I think the difference is civil engineering is very project based, so you don't have like day-to-day outcomes. So you just have your deadline and what you need to do. So you kind of are in more control of your time. In finance, what I see is there is project-based work, but there's also day-to-day deliverables as well. So there is a bit of juggling. Okay, I need to finish today's deliverable and then work on my project-based stuff. So that is the first difference. And then just intensity. In engineering, like some things it's gonna take you 3 hours because your deadline is like in 2-3 weeks. You can say tomorrow's a new day, right? Whereas in finance, because sometimes you have day deliverables that have huge knock-on effects if you're late. Yeah, you have to do it. So I think that's the biggest difference. And lastly, I think meetings. Engineering, you tend not to have many meetings.
Yeah, corporate is the ghetto, guys.
Yeah.
If we can spend half a day in calls.
Yeah, no, a lot of calls about a meeting you're going to have. So it's a lot of meetings.
And those random manager, can I call you now?
Yes.
And then you think, like, this is 5 minutes, and then you spend an hour.
Yeah, that quick, hey, do you have a minute to chat? Yeah. Yeah, I think those are the biggest things. And then just culture difference. Engineering, dress, like small things, even dress code. You can wear golf shirts, jeans to the office, whereas in finance and banking, you have to wear a shirt.
So you can only dress like this on a Friday?
Yes. Monday to Thursday, it's the pants, sometimes a jacket if you're in like an in-person meeting. Yeah, so big cultural shift.
I think for me in management consulting, or at least the firm where I worked, it was very, they did expect us to look good, but it was quite, as well for me, it was laid back because I could wear my Doc Martens to work.
Oh, that's cool.
On a Wednesday. Yeah, I used to wear my Docs to work, but I never wore my Crocs. I didn't take it that far. But so actually, I think just speaking on, because you said in finance, you have your day-to-day deliverables versus engineering, just project based. So do you guys actually are you familiar with agile methodology? Do you guys use that at work?
Not directly. So some of the projects, when you're collaborating with other skills, like maybe a project that would involve IT, maybe some bankers.
Okay.
Then there would be different project management techniques, but not that I've come across yet.
Because I know that in corporate all these days they're all about efficiency and process improvement. So agile was like the way to go.
Yes.
So I think in terms of career trajectory, how does that compare in finance versus where you were as a civil engineer?
So I think they both interestingly, I think you can take a step back. It depends firstly on what you want. So civil engineering is, especially in South Africa, it's a very stable industry. There's a lot of places where you can go going forward. And then finance, what I liked about it is it gives you, I feel like really transferable skills. So as much as I'm working in a bank at the moment, I see how I can transition that to maybe a corporate role, maybe working at like a company, for example. So I think finance gives you a wide set of skills, but
that are transferable. And like in engineering, it's quite niche. It's a niche skill base that you develop.
Yeah, like a really good finance person can go into strategy, and once in strategy, you can go anywhere, essentially. But in engineering, like you'll be a good engineer, but you'll still be confined to the engineering sector.
So, and what made you commit to still working in the civil engineering industry after graduating instead of just going straight into finance?
I think, two things. One, I was on a bursary, so I had to work back. But secondly, I actually wanted to give it a shot. And looking back, I don't regret those 2 years because there's a lot of soft skills that you wouldn't learn in a finance industry, like in engineering, you're doing a lot of management, like site management from the onset, and those are skills maybe you get that after 5-10 years experience in finance. So I feel like there are some lessons that were really important that I could not get in finance. So I have no regrets doing it, but yeah, the two reasons why I stayed was giving it a shot and I had to pay back.
All right, and I think before the conversation wraps up, let's talk money. No, so in terms of just like salary expectations, how does your like civil engineering graduate salary compare to finance graduate salary?
So I'm fortunate that I'm in the banking sector. So the banking sector tends to pay a bit more compared to the engineering sector. And going forward, at least this is my expectation. The growth comparatively, finance does seem to pay a bit better. And the added benefit that because the skill set is so, like you can apply it on different places, I feel there's a better opportunity to get into, your leadership roles, which inevitably tend to pay better.
Yes, so that's sweet. Professional. I love it. So, advice for people who want to transition into finance, I think from any career.
Finance is one of the weird industries where there's a lot of, even just going on YouTube, there's a lot of information. Also, do your research because finance is broad. Like you can go anywhere from like investment banking to corporate banking. It's a very broad industry, so do your research. And just find something you like. There's always a niche. And I feel like if it's something you want to do, go for it. The worst thing you can do is not try. So if it's something you're interested in doing, I would always say go for it, have a look and see how it goes.
Would you ever go back to engineering?
Yeah, never say never.
But guys.
I mean, I'm currently doing where I'm at, but never say never. Maybe not in a technical space, but maybe like strategy, somewhere along those lines. Your careers are long. Also, another thing is just have an open mind about things. You can use the skills you gained in any industry you go to and apply it to engineering, for example. So I would never say never, but I'm quite happy in finance for the moment.
I see why they hired you. Such an optimistic guy, guys. Like, I love it. And I think just to wrap up this conversation on a lighter note. So I was actually supposed to start with this as an icebreaker, but I think we're already comfortable enough to have a conversation. But so when I was looking for an icebreaker, I wanted it to be quite unique. And then, so I found out that you share a birthday with Bob Marley. So I want you to, sing for us the first song that comes to mind of Bob Marley.
I can't sing. Oh my goodness. I can think of the song. I'm just trying to think of the song I won't butcher.
What would be like a blooper?
Another one love, one heart.
Let's get together and be. Is it feel alright?
Feel alright. Be alright.
Bimbing, guys. Bimbing the music, guys. Anyway, I don't post my singing videos on this. I thought you were gonna sing "No Woman, No Cry." That's the first song I think.
I'm an optimist.
Clearly, I'm the pessimistic one. And I always say I like heartbreak music. It's tragic. But anyway, so here's also just closing up the conversation with Icebreaker. What would you do if you won the lotto jackpot?
Jackpot. What's the lotto jackpot? Probably a couple million, right?
I don't know what it is right now at this moment in time, but
I think I'd buy like a house, really nice car, put that money away, and then yeah, do anything I want to do. Really.
Put it in an annuity.
Well,
Or
something like that. I'll just make sure I don't end up on my blood. That's my one goal. And then yeah.
you know, I saw a tweet. Someone was like, if they win the lotto, they're calling their Blue crew to witness it live. No reenactments, reality TV. I'm like, I'll watch that show.
Yeah, no, as long as I don't end up there, I think I'm happy.
Okay.
But there will be signs. There will be signs.
I also don't think I can hide if I want the lotto. I can't.
No.
But I think my dad would be the first person to notice because he likes saying that I like leaving my bank account empty. But yeah, and then lastly, any podcasts or book recommendations that you enjoy?
In terms of podcasts, I listen to the Scott Galloway podcast.
Scott Galloway.
Yeah, he's really funny. He's like a finance guy with a bit of humor, a bit of life stuff. And then there's got this Diary of the CEO. That's also pretty good podcast.
Very career orientated things, but I love it.
Yeah.
Very aligned. And then any in terms of the research that you did for your transition, any stuff that you can recommend to the audience?
I think a good place to start is literally just Google finance. YouTube. There's a wealth of information, and yeah, once you get there, you'll find what sticks out to you, and then you'll just fall into a rabbit hole. And then secondly, LinkedIn. You'd be surprised how many people actually respond. If someone's career seems like something you want to do, it's worth a shot. Send them a message. Just say, hey, I want to chat with you about your career. And yeah, I think that's how I found someone in the industry who helped me a ton. So yeah, just...
So, I don't know, I feel like I'm getting back into the interview, but are they your mentor? Or do you have a mentor?
Not really, but it was just someone that was really helpful, who was just willing to share information about the industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's all for this video. Thank you so much for coming on to my channel.
No, it was a pleasure having you. Yes, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Okay, that's my line. It's a pleasure to have you. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. Bye-bye. I'm kidding. Anyway, guys, please do check out some of my other videos where I have more career conversations. I have a whole playlist with my friend Mahobo, who is currently teaching English in South Korea, where we talk about living alone, lessons we learned in the workplace, and how we maintain our mental health as young professionals. And also talk about my career, well, not the transition, because my first job was in management consulting, and also my recruitment process in management consulting. And let me know if you'd like to see more videos like these, and I'll be sure to videolize and share them with y'all. Thank you for watching this far. Like and subscribe. Don't forget to share this video if you think it can help you or a friend. And yeah, see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.